And in the day's business news, as COMESA turns 30 this year, tariff and non-tariff barriers continue to affect trade in the economic bloc. NTV's Brian George now gives us perspective on how these barriers affect the supply chain within member countries.
Since inception 30 years back, tariffs, quotas and non-tariff barriers like lengthy custom checks have limited the ability of firms to access regional markets within the COMESA economic bloc. As of 2024, intra-COMESA trade has held steady around $14 billion despite global fluctuations. However, already trade economy is underperforming against its potential because of these barriers.
Is that as 21 countries, I believe we are talking about something like 600 billion sized economy. That is, if optimized, such a big opportunity to uplift millions of Africans. And so on that alone, in terms of the question of manufacturing, services, productivity in terms of agricultural production, you can imagine if that is optimized, that is actually life-changing and transformational for many Africans.
Intra-regional trade has already dropped by $1.2 billion between 2019 and 2020, purely due to NTBs. If barriers are reduced, especially the non-tariff barriers, paperwork and custom delays, there is a large margin for recovering value, growing trade, boosting farmer and trader incomes, and increasing government revenues.
I think lots of times there's a lot of benchmarking with the EU. However, if you look at our aspirations, I think the formulas, the templates are well known. It's mainly a question of looking at what exactly do we need to respond to among the African countries, especially if you think of the fact that there is a greater or other side initiative between the EAC, SADC, and COMESA to kind of unify under the tripartite free trade area. This essentially begins the journey of connecting the blocks and then fitting into the Africa free trade continental area.
Experts in this year's International Relations Society of Kenya annual conference say that if these barriers are addressed, COMESA's 21 member states could unlock billions in trade opportunities, create jobs and strengthen Africa's global competitiveness.
I'm right outside KICC, the venue for next week's funfair that will be hosted the 24th COMESA Heads of State Summit, one of the side events of COMESA at 30. And though the conversation around non-tariff barriers is not a new thing, it is hoped that the deliberations from these heads of state would once and for all lift these tariff barriers. Brian George, NTV, Nairobi.